as we recap Mississippi State and Baylor. Mississippi State falls in the first round of the NCAA tournament 75-72. Mississippi State was led in this game by Josh Hubbard, who honestly just had a phenomenal performance, 26 points, 11 of 17 shooting, 4 3-pointers. Claudel Harris had 13. Kugel had 11. Sean Murphy had a very quiet 10. And Cam Matthews had 2 points there in 34 minutes. We'll recap everything from this game. I think there's kind of a formula in which Mississippi State loses games, and this was kind of one of them. You had a guy that doesn't typically go off, and VJ Edgecombe kind of did what we thought he would do. The guy who's an NBA talent, first round draft pick kind of talent. But Robert Wright III, the guard for Baylor, had 19 points in this game. So in the end, Mississippi State did not achieve their overall goal, which was to be able to get to the second round. But the freshman from Baylor, Robert Wright III, had 11 points, or averages 11 points, had 19 in this game. So again, a lot to unpack here. I think there's some, we always kind of talk about there's some good and there's some bad, but I mean, the season's over for Mississippi State. They did not get to the next round. Cam Matthews is gone. Melendez is gone. And I think there's another starter that's going to be gone as well that we'll talk about here in just a little bit. But before we do that, we want to let you know, hey, hopefully you have joined in to the March Madness bracket. I saw we had 16, 17 people that joined, which is great for My Dogs Are Barking, because the winner gets a gift card to ARPA's, one of our sponsors for our show. ARPA's is such a great spot located in the heart of downtown Starkville, in the Cotton District. One of the greatest places to hang out in Starkville. ARPA's understands that the great food and great memories are kind of made in special places, and ARPA's is one of those places. If you've never tried ARPA's before, you need to go try it. Venezuelan coffee shop, restaurant, so many good things to get there at ARPA's, honestly, that are kind of unique. So if you've never tried it before, go to ARPA's and make sure you tell them that you're a listener of the show, and they'll give you the 15% off MyDawgsPod discount. And here's the deal. If you're a big fan of ARPA's, if you've already tried ARPA's and you know what's up, you can get 15% off again and again and again and again by using our code. So make sure you check them out. And, I'm interested to see where, what happens for guys like Cam Matthews next season. He's not really an NBA player because he can't really shoot. But, you have to wonder if he can go make some cash overseas somewhere, maybe even go to Barcelona and get rich. But, hey, what does it mean to be rich? Maybe it's less about reaching a magic number and more about discovering the magic in life. Skip Langley is your Batesville, Mississippi, Edward Jones financial advisor, serving clients in the area and across the state. Count on him for financial strategies that can help you support a life you love, because the key to being rich is knowing what counts. So contact him today at 662-563-9843, and together you can find your rich. Edward Jones, member SIPC. So Mississippi State in this game, they fall to Baylor. And, let's dissect the end of that game just very quickly, because at the end of the game, State's down only by 3. And Josh Hubbard brings it up the floor. And it looks like he kind of has a give and go. He gives it to Claudel Harris, who is covered by 2 different people. Throws up a 3, doesn't even hit the rim, backboard anything, and that's kind of how State's season comes to an end. And it'll be a controversial thing that Josh Hubbard didn't get the shot, and I get why that is. I get why it's controversial, is what I'm trying to say. But I also see what Coach Jans was trying to do, trying to see if you can get people to focus on Hubbard, because a couple plays before, everyone crashed out on Hubbard, and Hubbard found Keyshawn Murphy for an easy 2. I think they were kind of hoping to give to Claudel, because Claudel had been shooting the ball fairly well. That he'd be able to hit a 3. It just didn't happen, and the season ended. And honestly, for Mississippi State, you want more out of your offense from different players other than Josh Hubbard. I mean, Hubbard gave you everything, and honestly, he gave you everything in a very good percentage. But for everybody else, and Riley Kugel, while he didn't have the smartest shot selection, it felt like, I mean, he hit 3 threes. He's 50% from 3. He was over 50% from the field. Keyshawn Murphy was 4 of 6. He just didn't get a lot of opportunities. I think they wish that they could have fed him a little bit more. But Melendez was off. Claudel Harris, I mean, he didn't shoot bad. He's 50% from the field, 2 of 6 from 3. But Melendez couldn't get going. Honestly, to me, I look at it and I think, man, it's a shame that Cam Matthews did not get going more offensively. I mean, he had 2 free throws, and that's it. He didn't even attempt a shot. He didn't attempt a shot. Had 3 turnovers. Turnovers were the biggest thing in this game, though, for Mississippi State. 14 turnovers in this game for a team that averages just 10 is rough. And that's what kind of made the difference in the game, is the second chance points that were given up. So even though, like you say, well, I wish Cam Matthews could have more points, or, well, I wish, Claudel Harris would not have shot this type of shot. So I think that's one part of it. But the other part of it is State did a really bad job rebounding. And remember, if you remember way back, very beginning of the season, we talked about how the rebounding was going to be really important because they just didn't have another big guy like Jimmy Bell or McNair or Tolu Smith. And it was all up to Keyshawn Murphy and, Cam Matthews. And in the end, they just were not able to get to it. Nwoko, I just don't. I don't know. I mean, he only played 15 minutes in this game, but he just wasn't impactful. Defensively, he was not playing very well. And especially when it was one-on-one opportunities. And then on top of that, like he gave you 2 points there from the free throw line. I don't know. I think you hope he takes a big step forward because he can do some things offensively, but he just didn't show it in this game. But it was the rebounding, the second chance points that really, really made the Baylor take advantage of it. They out-rebounded State 32-26, which isn't crazy, but the offensive numbers are different, So you hate that for Mississippi State to lose in this matter. But I think something we'll talk about as we go on is State is going to have to figure out to obviously get some more shooters around Josh Hubbard, but they've got to get some help on the defensive side of the ball with some other people. And then lastly, get a rim protector. I just feel like they missed that the entire season as someone who could just solely be a rebounder. And in the end, it bit State in the rear end, and Baylor advanced to the next round. And Mississippi State ends their season as they lose 75-72 to a Baylor team that they could have beaten. I love Josh Hubbard in this game. I'm just interested to see where things go now. I don't know. It feels like this, like, is this all this team can do, is get to this point, is get to the first round, which is great. I mean, that's further than they had gotten in years, right? But now that they've gotten this far, can they not take a step forward? Can just be frustrating. And so I understand all the fans that are looking at it and going, man, I'm really frustrated with how this team ended the season, and honestly how this team played. I mean, 21-13, played it in a loaded conference and got to the big dance as an 8 seed. But as we say, like the matchups are everything. And I thought State honestly matched up fairly well with this team, but they did not take advantage of rebounding. And I don't know what it is about Cam Matthews. It just seemed like, and I'm not taking personal shots or anything, but it's like towards the second half, like that last quarter of the season, just didn't seem like he had run out of gas, or it just didn't seem like there was the same explosiveness that we saw in terms of like not the effort. Like he's trying obviously, but in terms of getting the same results that we saw beforehand. So that's unfortunate for Mississippi State. For Baylor, I mean, they held Norchad Omier to 12 points and 9 rebounds. VJ Edgecombe, as I said, at 16. And then Robert Wright the third was 8 of 16 from the field. My goodness, man. Langston Love, another guy he's not, I think he averages 8 or 9, had 15 in this game and shot 7 for 11 and was really good. And in the end, from 3-point range, that's not why you lost this game, because Baylor only shot 24% from 3. In fact, Mississippi State didn't shoot a great percentage, but they're 34.5 from 3. You lost it because of the second chance opportunities they gave up. So it was right in their grasp. I am so interested. And this will be kind of our next topic here coming up the next, through these next couple of weeks, because we're going to be talking about Mississippi State football and Mississippi State's roster and kind of the retention and who are we looking at going forward. But we're also going to be talking about what Mississippi State does in the portal and who they go after. What's I'm thinking, will Keyshawn Murphy be back? And if he will, like, what's that going to look like? Because I'm going to imagine he'll be starting next year, but he's just not a great defender. And then what about Josh Hubbard? I mean, Josh Hubbard's a great scorer, not a good defender. Will he be back in terms of, like, will he stay at Mississippi State instead of going and grabbing a bag from somewhere else? But Claudel Harris, is gone. Cam Matthews is gone. Melendez is gone. And so we're going to take a break and here's some messages from MPW Digital. When we come back, there's a player that I kind of got a thought before or this week listening to Chris Jans in the press conference that he might be on his way out. So we'll talk about that on the other side of this break. You're listening to My Dogs Are Barking on MPW Digital.
All MPW Digital podcasts are brought to you by our friends at Parish Brewing Company, located in the heart of Cajun country in Broussard, Louisiana. Parish Brewing Company's simple goal is to make awesome craft brewed beer, and they do it remarkably well. The doctor is introducing their new go-to IPA, Dr. Juice. It's a highly crushable juice bomb, dry hopped with a blend of their favorite hand-selected hops from the Yakima Valley in Washington. Dr. Juice's drinkability is sneaky good, considering it clocks in at 6% ABV. The pour glows a rich cantaloupe hue with a thick frosted haze, soft mouthfeel, an aroma and taste that's full of passion fruit, papaya, and blood orange, making it drink like a glass of freshly squeezed juice. They also have Ghost in the Machine. It's a double IPA brewed with obscene quantities of hand-selected Citra hops from Yakima Valley. Expect pungent grapefruit flavors and aromas, tropical fruit, less harsh bitterness than most IPAs. Again, it's Parish Brewing Company. Wherever you get your beer, check out Parish. Make sure that you look for them, because any beer that you get from Parish is going to be absolutely outstanding. Thank you from MPW Digital. We're brought to you by Easy Hemp Company. Easy is a hemp-infused sparkling water. It's a guilt-free alcohol alternative, a natural way to relax and unwind. It's all natural. Made with real fruit, no added sugar, low calories, gluten-free. One 12-ounce can of Easy has 3 milligrams of THC. With Easy, it's easy to avoid the gummy scare and control your experience. So change the can, not the ritual. It's easy. Visit easyhempco.com to view the Easy Finder to find Easy near you. Easy is Farm Bill compliant with hemp derived from THC, CBD extracts. Easy is for people 21 and older. Enjoy responsibly.
Digital. And we recap Baylor, Mississippi State falling 75-72. And for Mississippi State going forward, I mentioned some of the guys that, in theory, will be back are Michael Nwoko, Josh Hubbard, in terms of eligibility. Michael Nwoko, Josh Hubbard, Riley Kugel, Keyshawn Murphy. I think Sean Jones Sean Jones will be back. Jones had a tough time shooting the ball today too, man. He had a couple of wide open threes and just couldn't. He had 4 and couldn't hit any of them, unfortunately. And so those are the guys in terms of who get a lot of playing time, who in theory could come back. But as I was listening to Chris Jans in his press conferences this week, he was asked about Riley Kugel, and he talked about how Riley, had inconsistency issues at Florida, and also it's kind of continued here at State. And the language he was speaking about his future was, I don't know, I thought it was just kind of interesting because he has another year left. But the way he talked, it seemed a little distant language, like what you've learned here, hopefully it carries on whatever the future holds. As he was speaking, I just thought this might be it for Kugel. He's had an up and down season. He looks frustrated. I mean, just to be honest, he's not going to be able to, I don't think he'll be able to transfer to another SEC program with this much playing time. I could be wrong, but he's just been up and down and has not improved in that part of his game, unfortunately. So you have to wonder what that's going to be like for him going forward. I do wonder about that because he can be such a valuable player, but just inconsistent. That's really all it is. If he played the way he always did, he'd be an NBA player. He just has so much upside. The question is though, can you get that kind of thing out of him on a consistent basis? And so far, the answer is no. Josh Hubbard, even though he is a Mississippi guy through and through, you do wonder, can he go earn? I mean, that's not really a question. He can go earn a lot of cash from somewhere else, but I mean, Mississippi State's going to do everything they can to keep him. I just wonder what the identity of this team is going to be going forward, because the defensive side of this team left. Like that identity was kind of gone this season. And offense made the kind of rounds, but then all of a sudden the offense couldn't shoot either. So then it was like, what does this team even do well? I'm just interested to see. I feel like they have a chance to not reset fully, but have a soft reset of new players coming in, reset the tone, and kind of see what this team's going to be made of. But I do want to say, for those who started listening to us at the beginning of this basketball season, thank you. We've been able to do some really neat stuff. Got the podcast credential to get to go cover games in person and go ask players and Coach Jan's questions. And that's really neat, man. That's something that's really, really cool. And it's not done without people supporting the show. And so we thank you for that. And thank MPW Digital for that as well. And, as we move forward, we want to continue that momentum of being credentialed for Mississippi State football and giving good coverage for that, covering the baseball team as well, even though they're not the most fun to talk about at this given moment. But that's okay. We will have some good things to talk about overall. But in the end, Mississippi State falls 75-72 to Baylor. They're knocked out. And I'm interested to see the other SEC teams, man. Alabama survived a scare versus a 15 seed today. Georgia got destroyed yesterday. Missouri knocked out. Arkansas did get the win over Kansas. That's a very good win, but that was a close game. But the SEC's got some work to do, man. Work to do kind of going forward. So we'll see how it goes. If you're a part of our bracket, man, we appreciate you taking a look at that. We got a couple of people that are doing really, really well in that. And again, we thank ARPA's for sponsoring us. So thank you guys so much for listening to the My Dogs Are Barking podcast on MPW Digital. We will holler at you next time. Make sure you follow us on Twitter. It's just at MyDawgsPod. And we'll see you next time. Thank you.